Over the past centuries, the kind of domain of rights has been expanded. So like if you go back 800 years to Magna Carta, the kind of foundation of Anglo-American, now Western law, it granted something called presumption of innocence. You're innocent unless proven guilty in a fair trial by a jury of peers. Now incidentally, that right has completely disappeared. Today, guilty means that Tuesday morning, Obama decided to kill you. That's what guilty means today. That's the drone terror campaign. But there was such a principle, presumption of innocence, but it was for free, privileged men, in fact, barons. Over the centuries, it expanded. Not totally, but it did expand considerably. Okay, you take, say, the United States. In the United States Constitution, it's there, but it meant free men with a certain amount of property. Obviously, it didn't mean slaves. It didn't mean Native Americans. It didn't mean women. They were not. In fact, women under the U.S. took over British common law, under which women were property. They weren't persons. So a woman is the property of her father. That's property's handed over to her husband. In fact, that lasted until 1975, not that long ago. In 1975, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that women have a right to serve on federal juries. That means to be peers. To be a peer means to be a person. So it took a long time, but expanded. It's not perfect, but it expanded. And rights have extended in other ways, like slavery is outlawed and so on. And that's also true of animal rights. There's been an expansion of the concern for animal rights. So take, say, Cambridge, Massachusetts, where I live, two major universities, Harvard and MIT. 50 years ago, the labs were carrying out experiments with animals that you cannot carry out today. They violate federal law, local law, and even university laws. Right, that's an expansion of the domain of animal rights. At the same time, there's severe regression, huge regression. You take a look at species extinction today. Species extinction today is at the level of 65 million years ago, when an asteroid hit the Earth and ended the age of the dinosaurs. Massive extinction took place that kind of opened the way for mammals, ultimately us. Species extinction now is at the same level, except we're the asteroid. That's an attack on animal rights, which is just colossal. We're wiping out species at the rate of 65 million years ago when an asteroid hit. You can't imagine a more extreme violation of the rights of animals, of species. And we don't even know if that's, not enough is known to know if that's the actual number. It could be much higher, because I can identify lots of species. So it goes both ways. It's definitely a serious issue, and we ought to think about it. Part of geologists, as a lot of you probably know, break up the history into epochs. Now, there was the Pleistocene, which lasted a couple of million years, up until 10,000 years ago. And then comes the Holocene, that is connected with the human invention of agriculture, which made a big change in the general environment. 250 years ago starts a new epoch. It's called the Anthropocene. That's the Industrial Revolution, with really rapid effects on the general environment. You take a look at these numbers and project, and it's not pretty to ask what comes next. But that's what we're doing, and we're racing forward to make it worse. That's, say, in the United States now, there's a lot of enthusiasm about becoming the Saudi Arabia of the 21st century, 100 years of energy independence and so on. What's the world going to look like after another century of exploiting fossil fuels? Well, don't have to leave it to your imagination, but It's not something projected for the future. It's something underway right now with a massive attack on animal rights. In fact, massacres. And we're next, not far.